Hey guys, Katie here with Life in Mundane. Summer is here, yay! I'm so excited, but I also know that summer can be a really challenging time for us. This is the time when we're trying to figure out how to help our kids encourage their creativity and give them some structure when they're outside of school, but doing it in a way that not just be stuck to a screen all summer. So today I'm going to be talking about how this checklist saved my summer last year. Excited to share with you guys about the system, how we use it, how you can use it, and sort of my thoughts about why I think it's important to try something like this. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all, I want to say that screen time is not bad. I think there are a lot of good things to be gleaned from screen time. There's a lot of educational material and things like that, but I also don't think there's anything wrong with just vegging out every once in a while. I enjoy a good show, so there's nothing wrong with my kids enjoying something like that either. But I think we can all agree that having your kids have endless hours on their tablet, on phones, on the TV, whatever, can cause your kids' brains to turn to mush. It causes arguments. I don't know about you guys, but my kids always get in more fights and arguments after they've been doing a lot of TV. And I also notice that they just tend to get bored more easily. And I want them to use their brains. I want them to get bored and then come up with a solution themselves to get out of that. I don't want them to just be constantly entertained and go from one thing to the next. So trying not to constrain the amount of time and limit the amount of time or to try to just go cold turkey. I have done all of those things over the years, and there's nothing wrong with those things, but what I found is easier and better for us has been to come up with a list of things that have to be done first rather than trying to control it on the front end instead of the back end. So the first step is, this is the most painful one, sorry guys, but is to evaluate yourself. Start looking at how much screen time are you spending, whether it is watching TV, checking your Facebook, your emails, even if it's actually work that you're doing on your phone or reading ebooks or something. Check how often you are on your screens right now and check yourself. Evaluate where you want to be, and is that where you want to be? Are you comfortable with how much you are? But your kids are watching you, and if we're on our screens all the time, and guys, I am so guilty of this, but if we're on our screens all the time and we're trying to limit our kids' screen time, that's going to seem very hypocritical, and it's probably not going to work. That's the first tip. The second tip is kind of the system that we started using last year. Now, this idea, I've seen it around in different places online, but we've kind of tweaked it to make it work for our family. I'm going to share it with you, and if it's something you like, I would encourage you to also tweak it and make it work for your family. Don't feel like you have to do exactly what we have done. So every morning they come down. I have got these lists printed. As you guys know, if you've watched my channel before, we have our kids color coded. So they each have the same list printed on their color sheet, and we have slid it into one of these page protectors. Now, if you want to make it look a little bit nicer, you can cut off the actual trim here for where you punch the holes, or you can put it in a notebook. I hang it with command strips on the wall in a low space where they can reach it, and then I have a dry erase marker nearby. And as they go throughout the day, they're just going to check this off. They're fully responsible for this. I want them to take ownership of this list, and the idea is to help to give them some structure, but give them a lot of creativity within that structure and make it where mom is not the cruise director. It's not my job to figure out what you should do for the summer. Not to say I'm not here to help my kids at all, but I don't need them constantly coming to me saying, Mom, I don't know what to do. Mom, I'm bored. I want them to be able to think for themselves on this and for them to learn and create, and so many great things are to be gained from being bored. So anyway, so this is what they have to do if they want any screen time. The first section is just simply their morning stuff. This can be done, this has to be done before anything down here can be done, is really the big part. And so you'll see we've got things like eat breakfast, get dressed, make your bed, do your morning chores, pick up in your room, brush your teeth, brush your hair, that kind of thing. So your absolute musts are up here. A side note, if you guys have not started doing chores with your kids, summer is a great time to train them in that. You're able to go through whether you're training them starting chores for the first time, or if you are looking to maybe switch up the chores that they're doing, or maybe take it up to the next level and add on a few more chores. Summer is a great time to instigate that because they don't have a lot of other routine things going on during the summer. So this is a great time to add that to their schedule, and it doesn't feel like you're piling it on top of school and everything else. So these are the things they have to do first. Then they can start working into their to-do list if they want screen time. Now, something I want to note is on this to-do list, I have a lot of times, like you have to do at least 20 minutes of whatever. But the idea is that's a minimum. I want a minimum of 20 minutes. But a lot of times my kids get sucked into these activities and get so involved and engrossed in what they're doing that it goes well beyond 20 minutes. Sometimes each of these things can take an hour or more, and sometimes they only get through half of these, and that's fine. But it just means there's no screen time for today, which is not a bad thing. So anyway, some of the things that we have them do: devotions and practice your Bible verses. I'm going to do a video on this soon, but basically we do a summer memory challenge, Bible verse challenge, trying to have our kids memorize several verses all throughout the summer. So they're going to review over that. They're going to do their devotions, whether that's reading themselves or listening to a Bible on audio, or looking through a Bible storybook, whatever it might be. But they're going to do their devotions time. Then they're going to do 20 minutes of reading aloud. If they are able to read, they're supposed to read out loud to me. This is one of two things on this list that actually involves me. Everything else is pretty independent, and that is on purpose because I have 6 kids and I can't have them all coming to me at the same time. But they're going to read out loud to me. A lot of times they do this while I'm doing dishes or doing laundry or something like that. And then for the little ones who can't read out loud yet, I read to them for 20 minutes out loud. Then you're going to have 20 minutes of writing, coloring, or sketching. This is just, the idea is to create something. My kids oftentimes will come up with all sorts of different things. Sometimes it might be, they might do like origami for 20 minutes, or they might do a writing project. My son loves to make comic strips. I have other kids who love to go outside and just do like nature journaling and draw birds and things like that. So there's a lot of different variation in this, but I want them to use their minds and their imaginations to create something. 20 minutes of listening to an audiobook or an audio drama. Again, I don't pick these things. During the school year, I do read alouds, but I pick the read alouds. Occasionally I'll get their input, but this is their time to listen to what they want to listen to. So we have a library full of audiobooks. We have an Audible account full of books that they can listen to, or audio dramas that we have as well. This is their time to listen. Sometimes they listen all together. Sometimes they have their own thing that they're listening to, but they need to do that for 20 minutes at least. Then 20 minutes of active exercise or outdoor time. Ideally, this is outdoors. Usually, unless weather is not permitting, this is going to be outdoor time. But if there's rain or excessive heat or whatever reason they weren't able to get outside, then they can do things like Cosmic Kids Yoga on YouTube. They can do that downstairs. Yes, it's technically screen time, but it's an exercise workout that they're doing. So I don't count that as actually screen time. So the last one is probably been the most helpful one for me. And that is the ask mom what you can help with. They have to ask me what they can help with before they can move on. And that is the last thing they have to do. Like anything else, I don't care what order, but that is the last thing that gets done before screen time. Asking mom for help, a really great thing to have on this list because it can be anything. I can say, hey, can you play with your baby sister for 15 minutes while I do reading with another kid? It could be little things like that. It could be a bigger thing like, hey guys, we're going to go and as a family, we're going to go weed the flower bed. So we're going to do that together. But this allows me to not get stuck into too much structure that I don't want to implement. I've seen a lot of them where they're like, hey, you need to review your math flashcards every day, or you do your sight words, whatever. We try to do that. I want to have that kind of stuff in my summer. But I didn't want the list to become super, super long and full of a lot of stuff. So this is the time where I can add whatever I want to add for the list for that day, depending on the kids' attitudes, their behavior, depending on the weather, how long this list has taken them. This list typically will take an hour and a half at minimum. If they do all the minimums on this, about an hour and a half. But oftentimes it takes like half a day or more. And I don't just let them just say, okay, from then on, you can just have free reign on electronics. This just gives them structure of what they can do before we're going to get into electronics. Your lists can be what you want them to be. They can be as specific or as broad as you want them to be. But I will give you a few words of caution as a mom who has done it before. Think about, you want to be consistent. With whatever systems you set in place, you want to be consistent. So make it realistic. Question is are you going to be able / willing to enforce that. And if that's too much for you, then nix it from the list. Or again, you can do an ask mom or pick a thing from a jar or whatever. You can put in sort of a randomizer there so that you are able to give your kids the task you want to give them that day without setting that expectation for every single day. But hopefully that's helpful to you guys. I would love to know what you guys have done to cut down on screens during the summer and to give yourselves a little more structure. So comment below on that. I post videos every Wednesday and Saturday on making the most of the little moments and homeschooling, home management, parenting, and everything in between. So if those are topics that you enjoy, that you would find helpful, I would love if you just take a quick second to subscribe down below and click on the little bell icon next to that, and that will notify you when new videos come out.